Still the Place with Laura Layton,
Courtney Thorne-Smith,
and Daphne Zuniga, an iHeartRadio podcast.
Welcome back to our finale.
Our finale
episode.
Of our first season.
Recap, season
we
1.
Did it.
So that makes this, just for the listeners, the last episode of our podcast for the year.
Yeah. 30. We did the entire first season that we talked about constantly about how long it was, and we did every single episode. So you're welcome. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
And this episode is actually longer. So then we'll have to talk about that. Which it's like I think it's an hour and a half.
I was surprised when I was watching it that it was an hour and a half, ultimate episode. So yeah.
And they did
exciting.
a great job, I thought, of having everybody, like every storyline was a part of this episode, which was super fun.
A lot happened in this
Yep.
crazy episode.
Everybody has something pretty big happening. So let's jump right in because it is a long one.
Yeah.
So in this 90-minute season finale, let's see, just a general summary. Amanda's pending promotion to become vice president of D&D is put in jeopardy because of her pregnancy. And meanwhile, Allison's old boyfriend, Keith, suddenly returns to LA. And when he sees Allison with Billy, he sends her anonymous threatening mail and attacks Billy. Meanwhile, Allison is drowning her fear and her feelings with alcohol. Joe is getting arrested for carrying a concealed weapon, while she and Jake are trying to decide whether or not to live together. And the gang is also learning that the Melrose Place apartment building is put up for sale.
Yeah, that was weird to see that for sale sign out front.
Yeah.
Like so many scenes.
Yeah. Talk about cliffhangers. And then Rhonda and Terrence finally make up, decide to go through with their wedding. Michael convinces Jane to go on a romantic wedding week getaway. He pleads for her forgiveness. And then Kimberly ends up spilling the news to Jane that Michael is not ending things with Kimberly after all. So, okay, all of that said, so much going on. But we open with Billy in the apartment. But the first thing we see is, of course, the Dartmouth soccer poster on his wall.
Noticed that too. That was so cute.
So cute. And he's sitting on his bed thinking first thing in the morning. He gets up, he knocks on Allison's bedroom door because, of course, they're sleeping in their own rooms. Gosh darn it. Mm-hmm. And he wakes up Allison and tells her that he hasn't slept and that Amanda's pregnancy is really pulling him and Allison apart. And Allison says, much to my frustration, I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, Allison is not handling it well.
Well, good question, though, because he's like, I know I want to take care of Amanda because she's pregnant with our baby, and yet I want you to not have any feelings and still be my friend. And she's like, what do you want from me? It's like he wants everything.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. The problem I had a part with is when she pulls out a stack of letters from Keith and says,
which, by the way,
she kept by her bedside. What?
At her bedside.
On her
a
nightstand.
whole stack of them.
That's what I feel was kind of passive aggressive, and let's just say it, bitchy.
Oh, and also just weird. Like, why?
I saw the props team going, is this good? Is this in frame?
Is this close enough?
The director going closer. Is this good? Right up her left nostril? Yeah. Let's put the stack of letters right there.
Yeah. And then I say about this boyfriend I left, and must let I remind you that he was married when we met. The point is, he doesn't waver. He doesn't get confused. He doesn't want anyone else. He just wants me.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
But
I have bigger complaints about the scene in general. Like, I was really confused. Like, wait, what is it that doesn't Allison still want Billy? Like, isn't that because I feel like in the scene, he's saying, I still want this to work. I didn't sleep at all. I feel like this, pregnancy of Amanda's is getting in the way of us. And I want this. And Allison is sort of saying, well, I guess I could offer you friendship, but that's about it. And so I'm like, wait, why, Allison? Why? Don't you want to fight for this?
Backs off right away from what she really wants.
Yeah, they can't move toward each other at the same time. It's very frustrating.
So I was frustrated with the disconnect here because last episode I thought Allison was like, please still pick me. Even though I understand you have to, handle this pregnancy and stuff with sensitivity and thoughtfulness and all that, like, pick me. But now she's not. So I'm frustrated with her.
Yeah,
anyway,
me too. For sure.
I thought it was a lovely scene for Andrew.
Yes, he was adorable.
Very, very grounded and dealt with the stupid letters by Allison's bedside with admirable grace.
You mean that pile? Like, right next to where you sleep.
I
Like,
know she said, I have all these letters. She goes, yes, I've noticed.
Yeah.
we've all
Notice he's been sending you one a week, weirdo.
They're not in a drawer or in her desk.
So then
Anyway.
we cut to Michael, who's waking up on the pull-out couch in he and Jean's apartment, and he's wearing a Freudian State t-shirt. Did you guys notice that? As if
Yeah,
it's
of
his alma
course.
mater, which I thought was hysterical. Good on
Yeah.
you, Denise
For
Wingate.
sure.
And he's finishing up a phone call where he learns that they're selling the building, and he shares the news with Jane. She's not really warm to him in this scene.
Yeah,
She's
he's
really,
acting like this will be great. It'll be a fresh start. She's not into it because she's like, well, just to remind you, you've been cheating on me, dude.
yeah.
And
There's
also,
that.
he's so callous about well, what will everyone do? She says, and like, it's amazing these guys are even together. I'm really seeing in this episode how she's so full of compassion and emotion and sensitivity. And he is so like sociopathically disconnected. Well, who
Yeah.
cares? Who cares about
And
everybody? I thought,
she's great in this episode because she stays
Yeah.
firmly on track on her through
Yeah.
line. Like
it's
this,
not going to be easy.
Yeah.
You may not get what you want. Don't,
my
Yeah.
husband's cheated on me. I caught him cheating, and he's, I'm giving him the smallest of chance. He can sleep on the couch, but I'm not, being all warm and fuzzy. And he's trying to be affectionate and normal with her. And she's like, no.
It's not going to change anything. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
finally
Very
tough. And
good.
at the end of this scene, there's this beautiful shot where she opens a door and you see the courtyard beautifully
Yeah.
lit. And she
And the
goes,
sky scrim. Yeah.
really too bad. It
God,
was so
was
great
so
here
great
for a while.
It's a great
Oh,
line, and it
great
ends
line.
up being sort of bookended by the end of our episode, but it is great for Jane to just like reflect on Melrose Place and what it's, how beautiful it is and how it would be such a shame.
Yeah, it was
to not live
really,
there.
really cool. I think it was a little gift for the audience too, because it's the audience's finale. And what I'm really getting, having watched this whole first season again, is how much the audience was invested, whether they wanted to wring the necks of these characters, some of them like I did and still do, or if you're rooting for one character or the other and you love them all together. That line was, I thought it was like a little love note to the audience, like, oh, it's so great for a while,
Yeah.
like we just don't know
It
what's
would be
going to
so
happen.
sad if it
Yeah.
ended here when the ratings are finally going up.
They're fine.
That's
Exactly.
right. It was so great when we were struggling.
Yeah. Gosh, things were just starting to look up. And so then we cut to Allison at D&D, where she meets a creative executive named Brett Nelson. He's a character who's going to come into play. Also in this scene, Amanda talks to Allison very sincerely. I thought that she never expected or wanted her pregnancy, but she says to Allison that what she really needs right now is a friend, which I thought was a very sweet moment between the two of them.
I did not. I discovered through Amanda through this whole episode, she's so self-centered. She has just the same way that Allison doesn't ask for what she wants or say how she really feels. Amanda has no issue with the smiles, always asking for what she wants. Don't you think she has nerve to say to Allison, I really need a friend through all this? Do you think you can do that? I just
Well, it
think
felt like whiplash to me. And I think
It's
Allison
just
says something
like-
like, I'll do my best.
You'll
It's
notice.
just
Right.
like-
yeah, okay.
She's what she's asking is not easy for Allison, for
No,
sure.
and it's unfair and it's very self-centered. And I just found, like, you'll watch with that note, like every scene, Amanda's just like, what I need, what I need, what I need, what I need.
But I will say, more importantly, Allison is wearing a beautiful fitted suit.
Lovely fitted suit.
Finally.
Yes. So Denise Wingate, thank you very, very much. I
Moderate
love
and
this
reasonable
suit.
shoulders. Absolutely.
It's so great to watch this, having just had Denise Wingate on and talk
I
about
know.
all the wardrobe and her process. And now I just see the scenes in the wardrobe totally differently. Fantastic.
So then the
so
two
fun.
ladies are invited into Lucy's office, where they learn that Lucy, the VP of the company, is leaving, and it opens up the opportunity for Amanda to move into that VP position, and Allison also to be promoted. So Lucy then reminds them right then that teamwork between them is going to be key, and it's an opportunity for both of them, and that Brett Nelson, the guy that we just met, he's the other guy being considered for the top VP role.
Yes, who, by the way, very handsome, which is important to the episode.
Yeah,
And just important to us in general.
he's already been a little flirty with
He's
Allison.
a little
so
rat-like to me. And he's a
Oh, really?
little,
I thought
like,
he was
came
adorable.
out of
Great
the-
hair.
He just comes out of like nowhere. And he's just like all in her business suddenly. It just kind of,
well, I was definitely suspect just because he was already flirty. So I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. And
Yeah.
so
yeah.
Wow,
see where
you
it
guys
goes.
really have a problem with people liking Allison.
no, it just
no.
it was just a clue that something more important was coming with him. Anyway, so we cut to a scene at the hospital where Kimberly and Michael are walking together, and she asks him if he was sincere about saying that he misses her, and he says yes, but he can't
And
do
don't
anything
you
about
love
it.
how I love how cavalier he is? Yes, but there's nothing I can do about it. Like he's so logical, right? And she's like,
Well, he seemed
well,
really cold to me.
what are the new rules? Because I don't want to lose you. You're my best friend in the hospital. And
Yeah,
he's
so
very
sh-
like, well, there's nothing I can do. You know,
And
it's just
she
very
was unusually accepting of this from him, right? Because we didn't see her
Yeah.
really get angry when he's like, nope, can't do anything about it. I need to deal with my marriage or whatever, and I need some time. She's like, okay, which
Yeah.
was sort of a change from what we saw before, where she got sort of angry, when he, changed his mind about the affair. Now she's like, okay.
Yeah, well, we can't trust either of them.
Yeah,
It's-
that's
yeah.
at all. Right.
On this week's episode of The Next Chapter, I, D.D. Jakes, get to sit down with Oprah Winfrey, a media mogul, philanthropist, and global trailblazer.
My life, although it may look like an anomaly, it has only been possible because I was obedient to the call.
This episode dives deep into how Oprah turned pain into purpose and what it really means to evolve with everybody watching.
Every decision I have ever made has come from sitting with the Spirit and asking God, what would you have me do first?
Whether you're rebuilding, reimagining, or just trying to hold it together, this one will speak directly to you. Listen to Next Chapter on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Episodes drop weekly.
The Big Take podcast from Bloomberg News dives deep into one big global business story every weekday.
A shutdown means we don't get the data, but it also means for President Trump that there's no chance of bad news on the labor market.
What does a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich reveal about the economy?
Our breakfast foods are consistent consumer staples, and so they sort of become outsized indicators of inflation.
What's behind Elon Musk's $1 trillion payout?
There's a sort of concerted effort to message that Musk is coming back. He's putting politics aside. He's left the White House.
And what can the PCE tell you that the CPI can't?
CPI tries to measure out-of-pocket costs that consumers are paying for things, whereas the PCE index that the Fed targets is a little bit broader of a measure.
Listen to The Big Take from Bloomberg News every weekday afternoon on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
She said, Johnny, the kids didn't come home last night.
Along the central Texas plains, teens are dying. Suicides that don't make sense. Strange accidents and brutal murders in what seems to be a plot ripped straight out of Breaking Bad.
Drugs, alcohol, trafficking of people.
There are people out there that absolutely know what happened.
Listen to Paper Ghosts, the Texas Teen Murders, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you get when you mix 1950s Hollywood, a Cuban musician with a dream, and one of the most iconic sitcoms of all time? You get Desi Arnaz, a trailblazer, a businessman, a husband, and maybe most importantly, the first Latino to break primetime wide open. I'm Wilmer Valderrama, and yes, I grew up watching him, probably just like you and millions of others. But for me, I saw myself in his story.
From cleaning canary cages to this night here in New York, it's a long ways.
On the podcast starring Desi Arnaz and Wilmer Valderrama, I'll take you on a journey to Desi's life, the moments it has overlapped with mine, how he redefined American television, and what that meant for all of us watching from the sidelines, waiting for a face like ours on screen. This is the story of how one man's spotlight lit the path for so many others, and how we carry his legacy today. Listen to Starring Desi Arnaz and Wilmer Valderrama as part of the My Cultura Podcast Network, available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Robert Smith, and this is Jacob Goldstein, and we used to host a show called Planet Money.
And now we're back making this new podcast called Business History.
about the best ideas and people and businesses in history. And some of the worst people, horrible ideas, and destructive companies in the history of business. Having a genius idea without a need for it is nothing. It's like not having it at all.
It's a very simple, elegant lesson. Make something people want.
First episode, how Southwest Airlines used cheap seats and free whiskey to fight its way into the airline business. The most Texas story ever. There's a lot of mavericks in that story. We're going to have mavericks on the show. We're going to have plenty of robber barons. So many robber barons. And you know what? They're not all bad. And we'll talk about some of the classic great moments of famous business geniuses, along with some of the darker moments that often get overlooked, like Thomas Edison and the electric chair. Listen to Business History on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So then Jane is hanging out with Joe in the park, sharing that Michael has canceled their marriage counseling appointment for that evening. And Jane confides in Joe that she's just so angry, doesn't even know what to believe, and feels like her marriage isn't going to make it without trust. And she's crying, and
Very
Joe's
vulnerable. It's like walk and talk in a playground, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
the
Joe's like the
vulnerability.
therapist of this episode. You're everybody's shoulder to cry on.
Didn't you think she was a very silent? I guess therapists are supposed to be quiet. They're supposed to listen more than give advice. So that's what I thought Joe was doing. Like,
I think she
girl,
was.
do you not have any advice for her?
But I think it was a good place
there.
for
Yeah.
Jane to put her emotions, and Joe was really listening. And the question
Totally.
she asked her is, do you still love him?
Yeah, and I found that it was a really nice to show how important it is for girlfriends, best girlfriends, who are just there for each other, literally a shoulder to cry on, which she did kind of at the end, and just there for each other, and how powerful those kinds of relationships are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
and I
sweet.
like in this scene that Jane finally gets mad and she says that she would like to kick his ass. Like you feel the
Yeah.
anger starting to come up and she's getting aggressive, which feels so good.
And Joe also reassures
a
her,
long
like,
time
hey,
to get
you
there.
didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
You have not failed. You know, you haven't
Michael,
done anything wrong.
He failed.
Yeah, I think she's very sweet and comforting and says all the right things.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
what
true.
Jane needs in this moment.
Yeah.
So then we're back at D&D where Amanda's on the phone with Billy, inviting him over for dinner after work. Like all of a sudden, it's just assuming the position again. And Allison is overhearing this. And of course she's upset.
Exactly what I said. 2 seconds ago, she said, will you be my friend, Allison? And now what she needs is, oh, Billy, you're coming up. No, just have pizza with me tonight. Like,
Yeah, so I'm confused why all of a sudden there's a
They have to
presumption
be-
like Billy
boyfriend and girlfriend.
is juggling these two women in an equal
Totally.
way. Like I didn't think
Yeah.
that's where we left it last episode, but now
Well-
all of a sudden that's what it feels like it is.
Yeah,
My notes
super
are like,
cozy.
isn't he agreeing to be a part of this child that she's choosing to have? That doesn't happen for 9 months. Why are they pretending to be mommy and daddy together? What's pizza now or getting together at all have to do with being a part of his child? Like, they don't have to do any of it. So, but it's just Amanda using this time to, again, get what she wants, get what she wants.
Yeah, it's also Billy's not exactly setting up the boundary. Like he's allowing
Yeah.
himself to be in the position to be choosing between these two women, which I didn't think that was ever on the table. And now it sort of is. It's just a different framing of what's going on for him. And I'm frustrated that Allison isn't more angry about it. And instead she's like
Yeah.
conveniently going, well, maybe Keith is a better bet for me. And we're all going, no.
Like she never once says, the baby isn't here yet. You're not trying to be a part of Amanda's life. You're trying to be there for the baby. Like, why are you insisting on spending all this time with Amanda? Like, we just had a night together. We're finally a couple. That's what I just don't understand.
No, you're right. She should say that.
Weird.
So to make things more complicated, Brett Nelson, the new creative exec that we meet at D&D, he's telling Allison that she's been doing such great work. And, oh yeah, will you have a drink with me tonight? I have a feeling we might be a lot alike. So they make
And
plans to go
Allison,
out for
of
a
course,
drink.
super vulnerable because Billy and Amanda just made a date. She
Mm-hmm.
says, yes.
Yep.
Right. Right.
And
You
there's
just
also-
overheard
Why
on the
not?
phone. Yeah.
And it's unclear, like, is this only a date or is it a date and a work thing? And apparently it's going to be both. I also,
this is the circular staircase, which I thought
Yeah.
was so great, so dated, very like of the era. They're going up that circular
Yeah.
staircase in D&D, and he's like, "Hey, you want to get a drink with me after
Well, that circular
After-
staircase in D&D is iconic. And like, I thought it was
Yeah.
so clever of James Frawley, who directed this episode, to stage the second half of the scene halfway up the stairs. And he
Very
stops
cool.
her and he's just below on the stairs.
Yeah.
And
you
do
get
you
to see the-
remember, Court, do you remember using that stairway? Because I'm like, that looks treacherous, especially in heels. And you have to like,
And especially to have blocking on it
You don't
in the middle
remember?
of it.
Yeah,
because they built it again in the 2009 reboot. They built a circular staircase again, and I
Oh, I
remember
guess it was
using it and going,
iconic.
"Gosh, this is treacherous."
It's so of that era of like the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
you know. This
Very
was
cute.
90s, I know, but it was very retro.
So from there, we cut to a hotel lobby where Keith is checking in.
Back.
A hotel in LA, and he's telling the front desk that he's here to propose to his girlfriend. It's what she always wanted, he says.
Yes.
What?
Creepy,
And that's the
creepy,
first
creepy.
Isn't this the first time in this, I think in the whole series, that you get that he's turned. He's now creepy because he's like a delusional in this. We see him checking in. I'm going to propose to my girlfriend. And you as the audience go, what?
Yeah.
No.
It's definitely a shocking turn of weird events.
And then it made me think, all those letters that she had by her bedside, had she been answering them that she got once a week?
They
She
didn't
said
look
she
open
didn't.
to me. They didn't look opened, but
And yeah, I think she said in that first thing that she hadn't been answering them. So he's definitely giving creepy vibes,
Delusional.
and the music cues match because like they're
Yes.
always a little bit like foreboding.
Yeah.
So we cut to Shooters because it's the only bar in town where Allison and Brett are enjoying martinis, talking and laughing about Amanda.
And I would like to say we finally meet drunk Allison, who is
Yeah.
my favorite Allison. Now, this is not the end when it all starts to fall apart. This is the beginning of drunk Allison when she's super happy. Just like I was like,
Yes.
that's my best performance in the series.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
think
know,
there's
Courtney, I
love
said that
drunk
too.
Allison.
I said it's so nice to see Allison gleefully getting tipsy and just spilling the beans and not caring about who she's talking about.
Yeah.
Gossiping about Amanda. Just having
It
a
And there's
gets
great
also a
dark
time.
later,
spectrum.
but this is the upside. This is the beginning of the treacherous journey.
Because I think we see
Yes.
tipsy Allison, we see drunk Allison, and we see sloshed Allison. Like we see all the versions on the spectrum of this for her. And I
Yeah,
think-
I mean,
but
later
right now
Allison
this is
gets
just
ugly.
fun, loose Allison.
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
this is tipsy Allison. I
casually
think.
lets it slip that Amanda is pregnant. Oopsie.
Yeah, oops, pretty
That's
important
right.
piece of, and you see the light bulb
And
go
he's
off
like,
in
oh,
Brett's
don't worry.
eyes.
I won't tell anyone. What
Yeah.
else? What else?
Yeah, he claims he won't tell anyone, but his light bulb definitely went off, and we're like,
Yes.
uh-oh. And he walks her back to the apartment saying, hey, I think we could, make a really great team at work. And he leans in and he kisses her on the cheek before he leaves her at her door. And all of this, of course, is witnessed by Billy as Billy is returning home.
Who's coming home from, by the way, his date with Amanda. So
Yeah.
shut up.
Mm-hmm.
But he follows her into the apartment. Billy comes in and says, Allison, what the hell is going on? Who is that guy? What is he doing kissing you? And tipsy Allison says,
Yes.
she's just living her life.
Yeah. And she's got the drunk munchies. She goes right to the freezer for some ice cream.
Needs ice cream. And Billy exclaims in disgust, you're drunk.
And I just love how she's putting off her clothes and she's like, ha, Billy. Because usually she's so serious with Billy, like,
yeah,
Billy. And she's like, I'm having a good time. Like, where's the munchies? I love it.
Yep. Very cute.
I love it.
Then back at the Bellage Hotel, Keith is creepily setting up a display on his nightstand of framed photos of he and Allison together.
Yeah. And did you notice their 8x10 publicity shots?
I was going to say Courtney Thorne
they are.
Smith's headshot.
They're not like casual. They're not candidates. I'm fully posed in a lit room.
Yeah,
This was
but that one
emergency
where you have
prop.
a jean vest and you're like this. That's so iconic. And it's like, we see that on every, like,
They're the
it's-
publicity shots from the show.
Oh my God, hysterical.
love
But the creepiest part is the voiceover, the echoey voiceover
Yes.
of him thinking out loud for us
Yeah.
to hear. Because in case we don't know that it's
Yes.
creepy enough, he's thinking through his voiceover, why did you leave me, Allison? I was so good to you. Like, we're not going to actually realize it's creepy unless
Good
we say
night,
that.
sweetheart. And then he says, I'll see you soon.
And he kisses the photo and says goodnight. It's so gross.
Boy, creepy, creepy, Keith.
Fantastically gross. So then we cut to Rhonda and Matt, who are fast walking down the street. To be honest, I was
Speed
really
walking.
distracted.
Remember when speed walking was a
power
thing?
walking. It was
They're
called power
using-
walking.
Well,
They're
it's called
using their
speed walking
arms.
too, wasn't it? I
They're
don't
using
know.
their arms
Maybe.
really well.
It's very sign of the times. It's not like
Yes.
now you go for a walk to get your steps in. It
Yeah.
was like a thing back then. And you had to
It
go
was
like
almost
this.
running, but not quite. Big arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or they were ahead of their times by getting their steps in. But either way, I was so distracted by it that I barely heard what they were talking about. Though it was something about Terrence. Yeah, like how she wants to marry him, whatever. But I had to go back and listen twice because the first time I was like, just watching them walk.
Just watching them walk in her little walking outfit. So cool. But you only see him a couple times in this episode, and both times they're talking about Terrence.
Yep.
Again, both times they're walking. A couple of walk and talks. They've decided that Rhonda and Matt should be walking and
talking. They're very thin, very svelte. These characters.
Very fit.
Yeah, so Rhonda has decided she's ready to marry Terrence, but is too shy to ask him.
And when they end their walk, they end up at the building where they discover that for sale sign in front of the building. They're shocked, and they learn from the real estate person that the property is being foreclosed.
Yes.
So back at Allison and Billy's apartment, Allison in the morning is saying that she regrets getting quite so drunk the night before, but she is glad to learn that Billy was jealous to see her with the guy at the door last night. Billy says, everything is so messed up. Maybe I don't have a right to be jealous, but Allison sort of goes on to say she should have seen this coming. Maybe she has a genetic aversion to happiness. And she's got a dark cloud over her.
Big time victim mode. She's in big victim mode.
Yeah. And I'm a little confused by that reaction, but she's just feeling like everything's dark. And does she want Billy or not? I can't figure that out. Anyway, that's when Rhonda and Matt knock on the door. They share the news about the building, and Allison decides that that's one more piece of information that proves that her life sucks.
Yeah, because it's all happening to her.
Yep. So she leaves for work, and Billy follows her outside and tells her he doesn't want her to feel this bad, and they hug. And then we hear the scary music again, and we see creepy Keith witnessing this hug from where he is parked, stalking them across the street, watching from his car.
Yeah.
Creepy.
It was this blatant zero apology by the writers and the directors, just going like, we're going to keep having our horror movie setups. Like it happens a few times throughout where something happens and we're seeing, Allison and whether it's Billy or whoever, and you always see Keith watching through the blinds or from behind the bush.
And it does
setups like horror movie.
It is sort of a callback because remember when we were like skeptical when Allison got attacked in the car, and then we're like, did Keith really set that up so he could swoop in and be the hero?
Oh,
and
yeah,
we're sort of seeing that same pattern in this
That's
episode.
true.
I'm just saying.
Good point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back at D&D in a staff meeting, Lucy asks that everyone hold off on vacations until she's gone. And Brett uses the opportunity to bring up, well, what about Amanda's maternity leave?
Oh, no.
Everyone, including Lucy, is surprised.
Amanda's like all smiley. What? I don't
Brilliantly
know what you're talking about.
lying through her teeth, and she says she doesn't know what Brett is talking about.
Yeah, it's news to me.
However,
and then she looks at Allison.
Yeah, after the meeting, she demands that Allison and her speak in private, and she telling Brett about her pregnancy was a huge mistake, and that no
then
one
Allison
will want.
completely gaslights her and says, "You're blowing it out of proportion." Also, I can't believe he said anything.
Right.
Well, what about you, Allison?
My favorite
Where's the
discovery.
apology, Allison.
My favorite discovery.
Yeah, so I told him, but
in this private place that they're, can I talk to you in private? And they go to this big, huge public bathroom. And it's echoing, so in case you can't hear it, but the wide shot, you get to see what Allison's wearing, a 1940s, skirt down to her ankles.
Another great
polka
suit.
dots with this neckline up to here. And then of course, Amanda in the shortest skirt ever with this like almost braless top. And you're just like, there it is. That's Denise Wingate's work right there.
Yeah. The dichotomy is
It
brilliant.
was a very stylish suit, but it was a lot of fabric on you compared to her. And I was just like, that's the difference.
well, here Amanda also warns Allison that if nobody's going to want to promote a pregnant woman, which may be true, and also Allison has something to lose here too because the promotion will work for both of them if they can get it. And that she warns her that Allison shouldn't trust anything Brett may have promised her. So it's a little bit of a foreshadowing there. So then Allison is angry. She confronts Brett in his office, telling him he shouldn't have exposed Amanda's secret. And Brett says he thinks they could be a team, a great team in more ways than one. And then he tries to kiss her in the most awkward and aggressive
aggressively.
way in his
Yeah.
office.
Yeah, really weird. And did you notice his hand went for the door to I thought it was implying that he locked it. And then he lunged at her. And yet then she says, get away, fights away, and then just opens the door and leave. But I had to watch that again to go, is he pretending to lock it?
It was
I
very
didn't see
fumbly,
that.
awkward, aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very.
But Allison's
creep,
super
Bo.
furious, shoves him off, and angrily leaves the office. And then we cut to Amanda and Billy, who are going for a walk in the park, probably the same park. And here, though, we see a bunch of children. They're playing in the background. And
you mean probably the same park as Joe and
yeah,
probably
right?
the same.
I'm assuming they shot them on the same day.
Yeah, I would assume that.
And Amanda is telling Billy that Allison is telling everyone about the pregnancy and that she should be more respectful. Billy says he'll talk to her.
Yeah, wasn't that weird that Billy goes, I'll talk to her? So now he's literally between them. Let me manage Allison to make your life more comfortable. He's really
See, this is where I just want to jump in the damn frame and say, you guys, you're not a couple. The baby isn't here yet. You just slept together and you don't get him, Amanda.
It is really like
they're a couple.
It is really like the ex-girlfriend, but for some reason, this situation, he's kind of assuming that he's back in a pickle between the two, and he's walking this tightrope in between, and it's a very strange theme throughout the episode.
And don't forget, Amanda just said to Allison, you should be on my side. I need you, for the promotion. It serves you too. And then boom, next scene, she's like, you need to talk to Allison, take care of her, because I don't like how she's talking so much. It's just like, she constantly does that, Amanda.
And she also in this scene doubles down on like, I really want this opportunity to become a mom. Even though I really want my promotion at work, I realize that I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, and I've made my decision. So we find out firmly that she is, committed to becoming a mom.
Yeah.
And then back at the office, Allison apologizes to Amanda, tells her she was right about Brett after being attacked in the office. And she tells her, you were right about everything. He sucks. And I'm totally behind you 100%. Let's go for it. Let's go back to being a team and, get this promotion together.
And Amanda just agrees immediately. We go back and forth so fast in this episode. We hate each other. We love each other. We hate each other. So now Amanda and Allison are back up firmly on the same team.
It's very strange. Like
Literally a minute later. Let's time it.
Yeah, I don't get to see enough of like, what does Allison really want? Like, is she fighting for Billy here? It's almost, her whiplash isn't fair to have to try to play confusing.
Yeah, it's very
what is my through line here? That's the question I was asking myself. Anyway, but with Joe and Jake, they're returning to Jake's at night, and Joe is lamenting having to leave Melrose Place, the building. And Jake suggests that maybe if they do have to leave the building, they could find a new place living together.
Yeah, and I loved how they come in together. He's carrying groceries. They go into his apartment, and he's looking gorgeous. The hair was particularly good that the t-shirt. And I'm just like, yes, move in together. Yeah. And Joe's all like growly and frowny and like, no, why?
Joe's having an Allison day.
I know why. She's feeling like Allison. She's feeling Allison. And I just want to reach through and go, Joe, it doesn't get better than this. Move in with him. He's going to take care of you. You're going to be in love, have beautiful children. That's it. Just make the decision.
Yeah, and he's even putting groceries away. Like he's like this sexy guy putting groceries away. Are you kidding me? That's lady porn.
Lady porn. That's what it was. And I'm like, enjoy the porn, Joe, because this is no, does she? No, she makes other very bad decisions.
Yeah. She says she's not sure at all.
And then Jake says, it scares you, doesn't it? I don't think I've ever met a woman more scared of intimacy than you.
Right. He's in touch with
zinger.
That, right. He's got his own emotions clear and hers too.
Oh, it just drove me crazy. All these years later, with all the wisdom that we have, we just want to help these poor characters.
I know.
So speaking of confused characters, we're back in the dark D&D office where Amanda and Allison are working together. The only ones working late at night. It's very dark in their cubicles, and Amanda suddenly doubles over in pain, saying something is very wrong. And Allison jumps right to the phone and calls an ambulance. So then we go to the hospital waiting room where Allison is filling Billy in, saying that Amanda has had a tubal pregnancy and the baby didn't stand a chance. So she's lost the baby. She's had a procedure, and Billy wants to go see Amanda in the hospital room while she's recovering from this procedure.
And Allison goes, great, we'll go see her. And he says, you know what? I'm going to go alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. He chooses to go in alone.
Ouch.
And there, Amanda tells Billy that Allison's been great. And
by the way, I just have to say, she's lying in the hospital room, crying, her big blue eyes full of tears. She's never looked more beautiful and vulnerable. Like, talk about
very vulnerable and emotional in this scene. It was very lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Billy tells her how sorry he is that she lost the baby. And Amanda says, well, perhaps in the long run, it's for the best because you don't really love me, do you?
And basically I can't force someone to want to come be a part of my life with this baby. And
yeah, I thought it was really true and heartbreaking stuff.
Yeah.
The truth of the whole situation. Yeah.
And here Billy tells her he's going to continue to be there for her. And right then, of course, Allison enters and she sees this very intimate tableau and she says she's leaving the hospital, but Billy opts to stay behind with Amanda.
Yeah, she kind of says, are you ready? It's
know.
like, I'm going to stay. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the next morning, Allison is telling Joe that Amanda's lost the baby.
Joe is our counselor.
She is. She's the confidant for everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice she was in another plain sued shirt that Denise talked about? This,
oh, really?
With the buttons down the side.
Yeah.
Those are all buttons and it's plain sued. And I remember where they sold that. Do you remember in Sunset Plaza next to Le Petit Four, that wonderful cafe with the sidewalk tables, very European? There was a store there called H. Lorenzo. This is a little BTS I wanted to
H.
share.
Lorenzo, fancy,
they have very
fancy.
like European kind of like very body hugging clothes. So I don't go there anymore. I don't even know if it's there, but that was like a very hot place to go. And I remember they had
a very cute top,
plain sued top. Yeah. Which was very popular back then. So I just wanted to fill our audience in
it was
behind the
pretty.
scenes. But yeah,
and
go ahead.
As Allison is confiding in Joe, she also admits that she didn't even have time to feel guilty about kind of thinking, hey, you know, maybe now everything is fixed because Billy was all of a sudden, you know, running to Amanda's side to comfort her. And so talk about whiplash, like you said, it's like the emotional whiplash of admitting that she, you know, sort of thought, oh, good, now I can finally have my relationship. Then she realized, you know, as guilty as she feels about saying that, Billy was still sort of choosing to be with Amanda.
Yep.
So then Jake enters the scene and reminds Joe to be careful on her trip downtown for work today. She's going to Skid Row to photograph. Allison notes how much Jake really cares about Joe.
And she says, Jake really cares about you. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But can we just stop, Courtney, and pay homage to these storylines that Allison is with Billy, lives with Billy, and like just doesn't see it. And Joe has Jake and doesn't effing see it. It just kills me.
Michael has Jane, doesn't see
and
it.
doesn't see it.
Happening with these people? Yeah, it's so true.
Okay, I got that out of my system.
On this week's episode of The Next Chapter, I, T.D. Jakes, get to sit down with Oprah Winfrey, a media mogul, philanthropist, and global trailblazer.
My life, although it may look like an anomaly, it has only been possible because I was obedient to the call.
This episode dives deep into how Oprah turned pain into purpose and what it really means to evolve with everybody watching.
Every decision I have ever made has come from sitting with the Spirit and asking God, what would you have me do first?
Whether you're rebuilding, reimagining, or just trying to hold it together, this one will speak directly to you. Listen to Next Chapter on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Episodes drop weekly.
She said, Johnny, the kids didn't come home last night.
Along the central Texas plains, teens are dying. Suicides that don't make sense. Strange accidents and brutal murders. In what seems to be a plot ripped straight out of Breaking Bad.
Drugs, alcohol, trafficking of people.
There are people out there that absolutely know what happened.
Listen to Paper Ghosts, the Texas teen murders on the iHeartRadio app Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Big Take podcast from Bloomberg News dives deep into one big global business story every weekday.
A shutdown means we don't get the data, but it also means for President Trump that there's no chance of bad news on the labor market.
What does a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich reveal about the economy?
Our breakfast foods are consistent consumer staples, and so they sort of become outsized indicators of inflation.
What's behind Elon Musk's $1 trillion payout?
There's a sort of concerted effort to message that Musk is coming back. He's putting politics aside. He's left the White House.
And what can the PCE tell you that the CPI can't?
CPI tries to measure out-of-pocket costs that consumers are paying for things, whereas the PCE index that the Fed targets is a little bit broader of a measure.
Listen to The Big Take from Bloomberg News every weekday afternoon on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you get when you mix 1950s Hollywood, a Cuban musician with a dream, and one of the most iconic sitcoms of all time? You get Desi Arnaz, a trailblazer, a businessman, a husband, and maybe most importantly, the first Latino to break primetime wide open. I'm Wilmer Valderrama, and yes, I grew up watching him, probably just like you and millions of others. But for me, I saw myself in his story.
From cleaning canary cages to this night here in New York, it's a long ways.
On the podcast starring Desi Arnaz and Wilmer Valderrama, I'll take you on a journey to Desi's life, the moments it has overlapped with mine, how he redefined American television, and what that meant for all of us watching from the sidelines, waiting for a face like ours on screen. This is the story of how one man's spotlight lit the path for so many others, and how we carry his legacy today. Listen to Starring Desi Arnaz and Wilmer Valderrama as part of the My Cultura Podcast Network, available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Robert Smith, and this is Jacob Goldstein, and we used to host a show called Planet Money.
And now we're back making this new podcast called Business History, about the best ideas and people and businesses in history.
And some of the worst people, horrible ideas, and destructive companies in the history of business.
Having a genius idea without a need for it is nothing. It's like not having it at all. It's a very simple, elegant lesson. Make something people want.
First episode, how Southwest Airlines used cheap seats and free whiskey to fight its way into the airline business.
The most Texas story ever.
There's a lot of mavericks in that story. We're going to have mavericks on the show. We're going to have plenty of robber barons.
So many robber barons. And you know what? They're not all bad.
And we'll talk about some of the classic great moments of famous business geniuses, along with some of the darker moments that often get overlooked, like Thomas Edison and the electric chair. Listen to Business History on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get